Tonight, when the sun goes down, you're going to flip a switch. Light will flood the room, and you won't think twice about it. But for 99.9% of human history, that switch didn't exist. When the sun set, the world went dark. Truly dark. And something strange happened inside you. Your heart rate would climb. Your pupils would widen. Your skin would prickle for no visible reason. You call this a fear of the dark. But that's not quite right. The real answer is far stranger. You were never afraid of the dark itself. You were afraid of what the dark hides. Darkness is just an absence of light. It cannot hurt you. It has no teeth, no claws, no intent. So why does your body still react like it does? To understand this, you have to go back. Not decades, not centuries, hundreds of thousands of years. Picture your ancestor, crouched near a dying fire on the African savanna. The flames are low, the stars are out, and somewhere in the grass, something is moving. They can't see it. They can only hear it. For a creature without claws, without powerful jaws, without the raw strength of a lion, that unseen movement was often the last sound they ever heard. Anthropologist Sarah Blaffer Hrdy has written extensively about how early hominins survived not through strength, but through vigilance and cooperation. Vulnerability shaped behavior. And nowhere was that vulnerability sharper than at night. Night was when the predators owned the world. Leopards, hyenas, saber-toothed cats built for low-light hunting, with eyes that gathered what little glow the moon offered. Your ancestors had none of that. Human eyes are built for daylight. In darkness, you become almost useless, slow, blind, exposed. So evolution did something clever. It didn't wait for you to see the threat. It made you afraid before you saw anything at all. This is the key to understanding the fear. It isn't a response to danger, it's a response to uncertainty. Psychologist David Wrangham has studied how quickly infants develop fear responses to ambiguous stimuli, long before they've had any negative experience to learn from. Some of that wiring appears to be there from the start, which means the fear didn't come from something that happened to you. It came from something that happened to your species over and over for a very long time. Think about that for a second. You are carrying a survival strategy that is older than agriculture. Older than language, arguably. A strategy built by ancestors who never once saw a streetlight, a smartphone, or a bedroom door. And the strategy was simple. When you cannot see, assume the worst. Freeze. Listen. Wait. That's why silence in the dark feels loud. Your brain isn't relaxing, it's scanning. Every small sound gets amplified because your visual system, your primary defense, has gone offline. Here's where it gets stranger. Researcher Randolph Nesse, who studies the evolutionary roots of anxiety, has argued that many of our so-called irrational fears are actually smoke detectors. They're not perfectly calibrated to real threats. They're calibrated to avoid ever missing one. A smoke detector that goes off during burnt toast is annoying. But a smoke detector that fails to go off during an actual fire is fatal. So evolution built you a smoke detector with a hair trigger. Better to flinch at a shadow 1,000 times than to ignore the one shadow that was actually a threat. This is why children, even in the safest houses in the world, still feel that jolt of unease when the lights go out. They aren't reacting to their actual bedroom. They're reacting to an ancient blueprint installed long before their birth. But here's the twist. Ancient humans weren't just passively afraid. They fought back against the dark in one of the most important ways imaginable: fire. Fire didn't just provide warmth, it extended the day. It pushed back the hours when your ancestors were most vulnerable. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has argued that the controlled use of fire may be one of the most transformative events in human evolutionary history, reshaping diet, social structure, and even the rhythm of daily life. Around the fire, humans didn't just cook and stay warm, they talked. They told stories. Some researchers believe this is where storytelling itself began, in the flickering hours after sunset, when there was nothing else to do but speak. Which means the fear of darkness may have shaped something as fundamental as human culture. The campfire wasn't just protection, it was the birthplace of shared narrative, myth, and eventually, meaning. Isn't it strange that a fear could build something so beautiful? Now think about what happened next in human history. Cities, candles, streetlights, electricity. Each invention was, in a sense, a direct answer to that ancient unease. Humans spent thousands of years engineering their way out of the dark. And it worked. Mostly. But the body didn't get the memo. Your nervous system still runs the old software, even in a locked apartment, 12 stories up, with a phone in your hand and neighbors on every side. Part of you still reacts to darkness the way your ancestors reacted to an open savanna at midnight. That's not weakness. That's 20,000 generations of caution compressed into a single flinch. Consider what this means for something as ordinary as a horror movie. Why do so many scary scenes rely on darkness or partial visibility rather than showing the monster directly? Because uncertainty is the real engine of fear. The moment you can clearly see the threat, your brain can start assessing it, size it up, plan a response. But in darkness, your brain can't do any of that. It just waits. Filmmakers didn't invent this trick. They discovered it because it was already sitting inside every viewer in the theater. There's something else worth noticing. Fear of the dark doesn't fade evenly across your life. It's strongest in early childhood, softens through adulthood, and for many people quietly returns in old age. Some researchers link this pattern to changes in vision and a return to relative helplessness, echoing the same vulnerability your ancestors felt without natural predators to blame. The body remembers, even when the world around it has changed completely. So the next time the lights go out and your pulse ticks up for no clear reason, you're not being irrational. You're not broken. You're running a program written by people who never saw a light bulb, who huddled by fire and passed down, through instinct rather than instruction, a single quiet rule. Darkness means pay attention. That rule kept enough of your ancestors alive long enough to have children who had children, who eventually had you. You inherited their fear the same way you inherited their eyes, their hands, their capacity for language. And in a strange way, that fear is a form of memory. Not a memory of any single event, but of an entire era, written into your nervous system instead of a book. So tonight, when you flip that switch and the room fills with light, notice the moment just before. That small flicker of unease before your hand finds the switch. That isn't fear of the dark. That's your ancestors, still watching the grass move.